This will be my third annual Rome tips, advice, and warnings video. My first one I did in 2024 had over 100,000 views. The one I did last year in 2025, almost 200,000 views. And this video for 2026, I don't know how many views, but what I do know, it will be one of the most helpful videos you will see about Rome, about tips, advice, and warnings. I've got lots to share with you. Let's get started. When you're in Rome, the time will come when you gotta go, and you're gonna need to know where to go when you gotta go. Public restrooms in Rome are far and few between. In fact, you can find them in the Termini train station and many of the metro stations. And there are some public restrooms scattered throughout the city. And whenever you use a public restroom, it is gonna cost you €1. But there's an alternative. This is what the Romans do. And when you're in Rome, do as the Romans. Use the bars. The bars are where everybody in the morning grabs their morning coffee, their cornetto. A cornetto is the French version of a croissant. You can pick up, cake, cookies, sandwiches, all kinds of stuff can be had there at the bars. And when you go into the bar, simply order something small. Use their restroom at the same time, making a win-win. You don't have to purchase anything to use the restrooms, but it is much appreciated if you do. So that's what I do. Instead of looking for a public restroom, I just look for a bar, go in, I get a aranciata, hot chocolate, coffee, croissant, something, and then use the restroom. So now, when you gotta go, you know where to go. So how much cash do you really need when visiting Rome? Well, I recommend bringing just €50 because €50 is really all you need to get started. Most places in Rome do accept credit cards. Taxis accept credit cards, restaurants accept credit cards, most even street food accept credit cards. So you will not need as much cash as you think, and getting cash in advance in the States is far more expensive than using an ATM once you arrive in Rome. Just be sure to avoid the ATMs at the airport and any of the Euronet ATMs. They're usually bright yellow, bright orange. Those usually have high fees, poor exchange rates. Just go to a bank ATM. The BNL Bank or many others offer very reasonable fees, really easy to get to. So again, just bring €50 with you to start with, and then go to a bank ATM for any additional cash you may need. It's always nice to have cash because there are situations where you'll need that, but for the most part, you can just use your credit cards. You may have heard that in 2024, Trevi Fountain was closed for most of the year. They were doing some renovation to it. It's now reopened, but when they reopened it, they've also implemented controlled access or restricted access. What that is, they're only allowing so many people to go down by the fountain at any given time. And this restricted or controlled access runs from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. daily, except on Mondays and Fridays. Controlled access is from noon until 9 p.m. On Mondays, Trevi Fountain is closed for cleaning, so if you show up Monday morning, you might be a little bit disappointed. But if you show up after 9 p.m., before 9 a.m., you can go down to the Trevi Fountain just as before. There's nobody controlling the amount of people that are down there, which can be a good or bad thing. Overall, I think your experience at Trevi Fountain will be enhanced by not having so many people, but it also means that if you show up, you're probably gonna have to stand in line, and maybe even a long line. So I do recommend that you still go between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m. And here's a tip. If you wanna get down and have access to Trevi Fountain basically all by yourself, go down about 8:30 in the morning. The workers show up, they kind of start setting up, and they stop anybody else from going down to the fountain. The people that are down there can stay down there. Now those people that are down there slowly start exiting. Just hang out, sit down by the fountain there, and wait until they force you out at 9 o'clock. And by then, you'll be basically the only one down there enjoying Trevi Fountain and creating an experience that you'll never forget. Be sure to check out our travel guide. It has interactive maps to some of the best food in Rome, a 70+ page PDF, and hours of helpful video. I'll put a link to it in the description with a discount code where you can pick it all up for right around $20. The first line I'm going to talk about is a line that can easily be avoided, but I see far too many people spend way too much time in line. I'm not talking 20, 30 minutes. I'm talking people spend 2, 3 hours and more to get into St. Peter's Basilica. But it's actually very easy to avoid. St. Peter's Basilica opens up at 7 in the morning. If you show up at 7 in the morning, you can basically walk right in without wasting valuable time in line. Another way, in case you're coming from maybe a city outside of Rome, or maybe you're coming from a ship from Civitavecchia and you can't get to Rome by 7 in the morning, another really good way to avoid the line is to purchase the audio guide. By purchasing the audio guide, it'll put you in a special line, a shorter line, a much, much shorter line, getting you into St. Peter's Basilica in minutes instead of hours. For anyone wanting to climb to the top of St. Peter's Dome, again, if you get there early in the morning, that opens up at 8 a.m. If you get in line for that around 7:45, you'll get right up on top of the dome. You can also now purchase tickets that will include the audio guide getting you into St. Peter's Basilica and the tickets to the top of the dome, where you won't have to stand in line for the tickets once you're there. You'll just have to get in line for the elevator or go up the stairs, whatever way you choose, saving you a lot of time, even if you're showing up at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, because you're going to have a specific time on your ticket that you need to be there and go through that process of going to the top of the dome. It's a lot of fun. So if you're at St. Peter's Basilica, I strongly recommend you do go to the top of the dome. It's quite an experience and a great view. Another site in Rome where I see far too many people spend way too much time in line is entering the Roman Forums. Do not enter the Roman Forum right across from the Colosseum. There's always a huge line there. Now, you may already have a ticket thinking, hey, I can just get right in. But that's not the case because you still have to go through security. The security process can be a little bit slow, and that's why there's a big line. Do not enter right across from the Colosseum. The next busiest place is on Via of the Imperial Forum. There's another entrance over there, a little less busy than right across from the Colosseum, but also still busy. There are actually 5 entry points into the Roman Forums. There are 3 others that are hardly ever busy. I'll put those on the screen. You enter there and you're going to find that you maybe wait 5 minutes instead of an hour or so getting in these other entrances. Again, saving you a lot of time. My number one favorite thing to do in Rome, especially when it's crazy busy, is to escape and head over to Aqueduct Park. I've done a whole video about Aqueduct Park. It's easy to get to. It's located right on the metro. You take the A line, you get off on Subaugusta station, and from there it's about a 10-minute walk to the park. And I've done a video that will take you, it's a GPS guided video, so it'll really guide you so you don't have to worry about getting lost. And it will guide you through the park, past the huge aqueducts. It's just awesome. It'll then take you down. It's about 3 miles, which is about 5 kilometers in all. You know, it sounds like maybe a lot, but when you're walking in the park, trust me, it goes by like that. And it's just an awesome experience. So it makes a great evening or afternoon, depending on the weather. Head out to Aqueduct Park. You won't regret it. I'll put a link to that video in this video because, again, it is my favorite thing to do in Rome, especially when I need an escape from the crowds. Now I want to talk briefly about some of the tickets you're going to need to purchase before arriving in Rome. If you try to get them at the site, it's just not a good idea. The lines are going to be long. They may be sold out. And there's really only 3. First one is Villa Borghese Gallery. This one you really need to purchase online. I don't even think you can pick those up on site. So if you want to visit that museum, it's in Villa Borghese. It's a fantastic museum. be sure to get that in advance online. The second one is the Coliseum. Now, there are tickets to the Coliseum maybe the day of or the next day. You can pick those up on site, but you'll have to stand in a big line, and that can be avoided by purchasing those online. Now, do know this, that those tickets for the Coliseum come available 30 days prior to you coming to Rome or to your entry date. So if you're trying to book your trip 3 months out and you go online and you don't see any available tickets, that's why. They will not be available until it's 30 days within the date. And then you can purchase those. It's 18 euros. And the greatest thing with those tickets, they also include a one-time entry into the Roman Forum. It's a great bargain. So when you're in Rome, take advantage of going to the Colosseum and the Roman Forum, but do get those in advance. The last ticket you really need to purchase in advance is for the Vatican Museum. By purchasing those in advance, they do charge a €5 surcharge, unfortunately, but the alternative is a big line. So be sure to get those in advance if you're going to be visiting the Vatican Museum. It'll save you a lot of time, I promise you. And yeah, it's all about saving time. As far as the other tickets, everything else in Rome, including the Pantheon, can be purchased, I think, the day of. Now, the Pantheon is one of those things that you may want to get that in advance, but it's really not that big of a problem to get those on site, in my opinion. So everything else can be purchased when you're in Rome as you need them, opposed to trying to work your day or plan a certain time of day when you're going to be there for those sites. Now, the big sites, it's good to be planned, but the other sites can be a little bit more spontaneous. As you've been preparing online for your visit to Rome, you may have noticed there's lots of different Rome passes. Rome passes are passes that will get you to the sites. You prepay a certain fee and you'll be able to access many of Rome's sites. Some of the passes actually include transportation, the public transportation, buses, and the metro and the trams. I know the Roma Pass does, and that's probably the most popular pass in Italy, is called the Roma Pass. It includes all of your public transportation and several of your entries into the museums and whatnot. It can be a good value for some people, but in my opinion, for us, when we used it, we hardly used public transportation on that particular trip, and we didn't actually get to that many of the included sites on the pass. So for us, it was a bust. For you, it may be a winner, but I think for most people, I would say don't buy the pass or any of the passes. Just go a la carte. Go to the sites that you want to see and pay for them as you go, and don't play around with the passes. But that's, again, just my opinion. If you're planning to visit Rome during peak season, it's best to plan your visit on the weekdays. Try to avoid the weekends. The weekends can just be too crowded, in my opinion. You can still have a good time, don't get me wrong, but it's best to visit Rome on the weekdays. Now, the weekdays during peak season are also pretty busy, but just less busy than the weekends. When you arrive in Rome at the Fiumicino airport, after gathering your bags, you're going to want to get to your hotel or Airbnb, and there are really 3 options. You can take a bus. Now, if you want to take a bus, just look for the information booth, ask where the buses are at. There are several bus lines that will take you to the Termini train station. The buses cost less than €10 per person to get from the Fiumicino airport to the Termini train station. But be advised that once you get to the Termini train station, you're then going to need to figure out how to get to your hotel or Airbnb. If you're close by, you may be able to walk. Otherwise, you're going to need to get another taxi from there to your hotel or Airbnb. And on average, it costs around €15. So you can kind of figure out what that's going to cost you. The other option is to take the public transportation, the metro, or a bus. I don't really recommend you do that, especially if you're not familiar with Rome and not with all your bags. So get another taxi from there would be my opinion. The second option is to take the Leonardo Express. It's an express train that runs from the Fiumicino airport directly to the Termini train station. It takes around 30 minutes. But again, once you arrive at Termini station, then you're going to then have to figure out how to get to your Airbnb or hotel. But the train ride is very comfortable, it's fast, it's convenient, and it's very easy to find from the airport. Just look for the Leonardo Express sign, follow it, hop on the train, no problem there. The most convenient way, however, is to just get a taxi. When you get in the airport, after you get your bags, you'll see the signs. It'll say taxi. Very easy. You just follow the taxi signs towards the taxis and you'll hop in a taxi. The taxi ride is a flat fare. It's 55 euros. You also have to pay €1 per bag. They don't always charge that, but they have the right to charge you another euro per suitcase. But it's still pretty inexpensive considering it can be for multiple people, not just per person, and it will take you directly to your hotel or Airbnb, so there's no need to switch or figure out how to get to your hotel from the Termini train station, making it super convenient, especially after a long flight. That's what I recommend you do. But here's one thing I want to tell you about. Just be aware, when you get in line for the taxi, there will be people approaching you, asking you if you want to hop into their ride service. That's what it is, because it is not the official taxi. And if you want to do that, you can, but pre-negotiate the fare so you're not surprised when you get there. What I do is, if I'm going to do that, I offer less than the 55. I usually offer 40 euros because it is a shared cab service, and offering 40 for a shared, I'm saving 15, and that seems to be a pretty good deal for me for when I'm traveling. That's what I do. But for you, I recommend you do that, or just stay in the taxi line and take a private taxi from the Fiumicino Airport directly to your hotel. It will save you a lot of time, grief, stress, and all the other stuff. So starting off on the right foot is important. Get a taxi from the Fiumicino Airport is my opinion. So take it for what it's worth. This is really not a tip, just a recommendation. When you're in Rome, you need to try some aranciata. This is the national soda of Italy. It's sold everywhere, every pizzeria, restaurant, bar, everywhere. Very easy to get. It is so good. It's not to be confused with the Fanta they sell in the United States. Now, the Fanta here has no, first of all, it's got no corn syrup. It's got no artificial colors, no artificial flavors. It's fantastic. In fact, it's got actually very little sugar, which I like. I don't like things that are super sweet. And I think you'll really love it. Be sure you give it a try when you're in Rome. Fanta here is awesome. In the States, it is not so awesome. It's time to get a taxi in Rome, and one of the biggest complaints I hear are people feeling they got ripped off getting a taxi. They got scammed. And it's real easy not to get scammed in a taxi if you just know a couple of things. First off, all taxis in Rome are typically white. They say taxi on top. There's usually some magnetic square, quite big on the doors that will tell you the rates. That is an official taxi. What I mean by an official taxi, they're governed by the city of Rome for their rates. So every taxi in town is charging the same amount. It's not just made up as they go along. And that's where you get into trouble. Many times, especially at Termini train station and some other places throughout the city, there are what they call unauthorized taxis. They're not the official taxi. They may be a legitimate ride service, but they're not the official taxi. They're usually black sedans. If you're getting into a black sedan or van and it's unmarked, it's not an official taxi, and they can charge you whatever they want. If you've pre-negotiated that on an app such as Uber Black and you agree to that fare, then you're fine. But if you haven't pre-negotiated that fare, they can pretty much make it up as they get you there. One time I took an Uber Black. It wasn't even an Uber Black. It was just a black sedan. It wasn't through Uber. I took it from Termini station to Piazza Spagna, which is about 3 kilometers, less than 10 minutes for sure, even in traffic. It cost me 40 euros. And I've since taken a regular taxi, and it was right around 10 euros. So they charged me 4 times as much as a regular taxi. That's just how it is. You get ripped off, but if you want to avoid getting ripped off, don't get into a black sedan unless you're using an app. And if you're getting into an official taxi, they're pretty simple. Just make sure you're getting into one that's marked, that says taxi on top. If you look for a taxi stand, they're scattered throughout Rome, or you're using an app, you can call them on the app called FreeNow, and there are other apps besides FreeNow, but FreeNow is what I think is probably the most popular app in Rome for getting a taxi. And it'll tell you an estimation of what the ride's going to cost. It'll even give you the option to have that flat fare so you're secured at what it's going to cost you from point A to point B, making it super convenient. You won't get ripped off that way. And getting a taxi in Rome can be pretty simple, but at the same time, it can be pretty intimidating for a lot of people. But that's how you know the difference between a real taxi and an unauthorized taxi. And then there are other people out there that are just not even authorized or not even a real taxi service at all. They're just scammers. They're usually around Termini Station late at night. If you come in, somebody may approach you as you're walking, asking you if you need a taxi. Now those guys, you better really watch out for. They're not even insured, and they're gonna really rip you off. They're gonna charge you, 7, 8, 10 times more than what it should cost you, 70, 80 euros to go across town, not even across town. So avoid those guys at all costs. But again, if you're using Uber Black and a black sedan shows up, you probably paid more than you needed to. But again, if that's what you want to do, it's a nice ride. They will take care of you. Otherwise, get into a marked taxi and you'll be set. If you're wondering how to use Rome's public transportation, it's buses, the metro, trams. The same ticket is used for buses, metro, and tram. The tickets cost 1.5 euros, and for buses and trams, they're good for 100 minutes. So if you buy a ticket and you hop on the bus, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, you can continue to ride different buses for an additional 100 minutes. But once you've exceeded 100 minutes, you're going to need to have another bus ticket. As far as the metro goes, it's good for one ride on the metro. So once you go down into the metro and then you come up, doesn't matter where you come up, you can switch lines as long as you're staying down there. But once you come up out of the metro and you want to go back down into the metro, even if it's been less than 100 minutes, you have to purchase another ticket. It's 1.5 euros. Tickets can be purchased at tabacayos, at the metro stations, at the Termini station. You can get single-use tickets or multi-day tickets. Sometimes having the multi-day ticket is very convenient. The one-day unlimited access for buses, metros, and trams is 8.5 euros. Kind of a lot because you're probably not going to ride the metro or the buses as much as it would require to be worth the 8.5 euros. I doubt you'll ride it more than 5 times in a day. But it is super convenient because you don't have to hunt for tickets. You can just buy that pass and then access the buses and the metros and everything without having to worry about it. So it's more of a convenience thing than it is a money-saving thing. Also available is a 48-hour pass, a 72-hour pass, a 1-week pass, and a 1-month pass. The 1-month pass is the best value. It's around 38 euros, but it is for a specified month, not necessarily 30 days, depending on when you purchase it. So there's a pass for you depending on what you're looking for and how many days you're going to be in Rome. But there's another way to get on Rome's public transportation system I'm going to talk about right now called Tap and Go. A couple years ago, they implemented a new system called Tap and Go. Tap and Go makes it super convenient. Now, you really don't need to search for tickets or purchase tickets in advance. You just use your ATM or your credit card, your touchless credit cards. You can even have them on your smartwatch, on your smartphone, just like with Apple Pay or whatever. And there's a receiver on the buses. It's at the front of the bus. On the metro, it's at the turnstile going in, and you can tap it and it will charge you. The nice thing about using Tap and Go, again, you don't have to search for tickets. So you can just you basically have a ticket, it's your phone or your credit card in your pocket. But also it will give you the best available rate. So if you happen to tap enough times to be more than 8.5 euros, it will only charge you 8.5 euros for a 24-hour period. So let's say you get on the, start using the public transportation system at 2 p.m. on a Saturday, all the way until 2 p.m. Sunday. If you haven't used that metro more than the 8.5 euros, it'll charge you that smaller amount. But let's say you ended up going on it 10 times, which would be 15 euros. Well, you're only going to be charged 8.5 euros because that is the rate for the 24 hours, making Tap and Go very convenient. Just know that every person using the public transportation system has to have their own credit card. It can be the same credit card, but it has to be spread out over multiple devices. It cannot be the same physical credit card or same physical device because it tracks you individually. And know that if you're under 10 and under, your kids get to ride public transportation system in Rome for free, so no need to worry about them. So just know if you're over 10 years old, you're going to need your own ticket, your own tap to be valid on the public transportation system. If by chance you get caught using the public transportation system without a valid ticket, the fines are close to 100 euros. Kind of steep considering it would have been just 1.5 euros had you bought a ticket. If you're heading to Rome anytime soon, be sure to check out our travel guide. Links to it are in the description of this video. I'm not telling you this to scare you. I'm telling you this so you'll be prepared. The chance of this happening to you is very small, but the chance of it happening to somebody is 100%, and that is having your bag stolen off the trains as you travel throughout Italy. What happens typically is a person will get on the train. Let's say you're heading from Rome to Florence. There are 2 train stations in Rome. There's the Termini train station, and then it goes to another train station, typically Tiburtina, where it picks up additional passengers. If you see somebody exiting at that station, not getting on, be very suspicious of them. Typically what they do is they get on at Termini train station, they scout it out, and then they hop off at the next station, which is only a few minutes away. They'll take additional luggage that's not theirs. So when you arrive in Florence or Venice or wherever it is you're heading, you'll arrive and your bags will have been taken off the train in Rome, and it will leave your trip in a real mess. So just be aware of that. Not to be overly paranoid, just be aware of where your luggage is at. And even if it's on the racks above you where you're sitting, that's the best place to put your luggage. If you do see somebody exiting the train station, just make sure they're not grabbing your luggage. Of all the tips, this may be one of the most helpful. Hopefully you're enjoying all these tips, but anyway, this one should not be overlooked, and that is to have a personal assistant, AI, on your phone before heading to Rome. Get Grok, ChatGPT, it can be so helpful. Let me show you.
Appreciate that. Honestly, I'm loving helping. Figuring out the money, the passes, the pizza. And yeah, I'm literally in your pocket, so just ask. What are we doing next?
Okay, I'm heading over to the Colosseum, and I'm looking for someplace great to grab a sandwich. Any suggestions that are highly recommended?
Zia Rosetta, just a 5-minute walk into Monte. People swear by their Rosetta. Rolls stuffed with mortadella or prosciutto. Fresh and cheap, around 6 euros. If you want something crunchier, head to Fa, Lu Cioli, near the arena itself. Old school spot with killer focaccia. Go now, they'll be packed soon.
Okay, sounds good. Another question. I'm looking at the Colosseum. Tell me something that probably most people don't know about the Colosseum.
Here's one. It wasn't always called the Colosseum. Back then they just called it the Flavian Amphitheater, after the emperors who built it. But hey, the giant statue of Nero out front, that's what gave it the name. Most folks think it's because it's big. It's not.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, the statue's still gone, but they say it stood like 100 feet tall, just watching you line up with the rest of the tourists. Feels good to know you're not the first to be amazed, huh?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. If you ever want to duck the crowds, go left around the back. They never take it that side. Want me to check wait times?
Yeah, check wait times.
Wait times right now are about 70 minutes for standard tickets, 10 if you skip the line perk or have a timed entry. But from what I'm seeing on X, folks are breezing through with pre-booked under 5. You're in luck. Lines peak after 4.
All right, thank you.
Anytime. Let me know how the sandwich turns out.
So there you have it. You can see there's so many uses that you can use AI to help you on your trip, whether it's planning, while you're in Rome. It can come in super helpful. Be sure to use it. Take advantage of technology. It's not all scary. It can be very, very helpful. While you're in Italy, having a lot of change can be very helpful, especially €1 coins. As you spend money, here's a 20 euro. You're going to get back change, but oftentimes you're using euro coins more frequently than you're able to accumulate because euro coins are used to enter the bathrooms. The public bathrooms, you're going to need to pay €1 coin. You may want to tip the street performers. It's much easier to pay them in coins than in dollar bills. The smallest bill in euros is a €5. Not really all that common, but Yeah, coins are super common to be used. Even when you go in to get, coffee in the morning, you may not want to use your credit card for a $2 purchase. It's just much easier to pay that with coins. So getting enough coins can be a bit of a challenge. So what I recommend you do is drop into a laundromat. Laundromats are scattered throughout the city. They're oftentimes only 2 or 3, 4 machines, so they're fairly small, but that means there's a lot more than there otherwise would be. So it's very easy to find a laundromat, go inside, they have coin changers, put your 20 euro bill into the coin changer, get back 20 euros of coins that can be used throughout, the city of Rome or throughout Italy. It comes in super handy. And anyway, that's what we do. I just thought I'd pass that on. It makes it super convenient having a lot of coins with you as you walk around the city of Rome. If by chance you're visiting Rome on one of the first Sundays of every month, just know most of the sites of Rome are free. The Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and so many others are free to enter. Expect long lines, so plan your day well, but it's nice to know you can visit almost all of the sites in Rome for free on the first Sunday of every month. Now I'm going to show you how to save big on high-speed rail. Here's how you do it. If you go onto the Italo app, this is the high-speed rail train. There's also Train Italia, but this is the one I enjoy, the one I find to be the best value. So if you're on Italo and you go out the next day, let's establish what it's going to cost. The cost for next day travel is going to be $46.90. This is going from Rome to Naples, which is about an hour on high-speed rail. It's costing real close to 50 euros, a little less, but about 50 euros. And across the board, every seat is pretty much $46.90. But if we book that out several weeks in advance, and I'll show you. So today's the 16th of September. We're going to go out a month. So we're going to go into October. Let's go October 14th. And we're going to look for trains to see what the prices are. And as you can see, the prices have come down drastically. Now we can get trains for 16 euros, $15.90 from the 9 o'clock, 7 o'clock. The 10:30 one's a little bit expensive, but the 10:40 is $14.90. So as you can see, the savings are incredible just by booking your tickets well in advance. But just know that these are kind of use it or you lose it tickets. There are sometimes some, depending on the fare, and each one is going to explain, your refund options. But most of the time, if you're getting a discount ticket, you're going to get very little back if you do not use it. They're non-refundable, non-exchangeable, that type of thing. And if you're paying the full $46.90, those tickets, if you were to miss your train or you need to change it, they'll change that for you for no fare. These ones, however, just understand that you're getting a good deal, but if you miss the train or change your plans, you're not going to get much of a refund, if any at all. So it can be a great deal, and that's how you do it. Every train has so many discounted tickets allotted to it, and there's not just one tier, there's 3 or 4 tiers. So once those sell out, they're gone. And if you try to book your trains 2, 3, 4 days in advance, they're going to be usually all sold out. And sometimes you do need to go out 2 and 3 and 4 weeks in order to get the best fare. Here's a tip that is oftentimes overlooked. That is to get in shape. Be prepared to walk a lot while you're in Rome. In fact, most people, when in Rome, will walk somewhere between 15,000 steps to as much as 25,000 steps in a day. And if you're not used to walking that many steps, it can be a wake-up call. Your feet can scream and you can get blisters. So my recommendation before heading to Rome, start walking at home. Make sure you're walking at least 10,000 steps a day. Don't wear uncomfortable shoes. I see people all the time tending their feet because they simply walk a lot more than they were anticipating. Don't let that happen to you. It can be a killer for you. It can really make it difficult for you to get around Rome. Once your feet are gone, you're pretty much done.
Look at my foot. Blisters on top of the blisters.
Be prepared and start walking before arriving in Rome. If you want to get into the Pantheon for free, here's a way to do it. Every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. there is Mass. Not only do you get to go to the Pantheon for free, you get to participate in a Roman tradition mass within the Pantheon every Sunday at 10:30. If you do plan on attending the mass, be sure to get there about an hour in advance so you can secure your seat. It's a great experience. Give it a try. There's an app I think you'll really enjoy having. It's called Too Good To Go. At the end of the day, most restaurants, grocery stores, they all have food that they're going to throw out. And with the app Too Good To Go, you can get a mystery bag. It's usually not very expensive, 3, 4, 5 euros. You show up at a certain time and then you get a bag of goodies, whether it's pastries, baked goods, all kinds of, maybe even at restaurants, it could be other things. It could be whatever they've got left over, they stick on Too Good To Go. It's kind of a mystery, it's kind of fun, and whatever it is you're gonna get a lot more for your money than you would otherwise be paying for it if you're paying full price for it. I used it in the grocery store and I bought a 5 euro bag. I got probably 20 euros worth of food, bread loaves, a lot of bread goods to be honest, but if you're by yourself, not a great deal because so much of that you cannot eat and most of it will spoil within 24, 48 hours. So if there's a few of you and you want to have a little bit of fun, give it a try. So these glasses that I am wearing are actually Meta smart glasses. They are the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. With these glasses, I can take pictures, I can take videos, I can listen to audio. In fact, this is one of the great things, I can have instant translation, meaning somebody can speak to me in Italian and in my ear it translates it instantly into English, making it super convenient. Also, it's very handy because it has AI built into it. I can just say, what am I looking at? And it will then tell me a little bit about what I'm looking at, whether it's the Colosseum, the Pantheon. If I want additional information, it can also tell me that. They are super nice, super convenient for travel. I highly recommend them. I think you'll really enjoy having them when you're in Rome. They cost starting at around $300, so they're really not that expensive, especially for the convenience of having sunglasses plus AI built right into them. They're awesome. I love them. I think you will too. One option for getting around the city of Rome is the hop-on, hop-off bus. So do I think it's a good deal? Well, it can be for certain people. It does get you around the city. It's kind of a loop all the way around the city. It takes around 3 hours, so it's not super fast. And many of the sites you cannot see from the bus, but there are some, including the Victor Emmanuel Monument, the Colosseum, Circus Maximus, that you get real good views right from the bus. But most of the time you're going to need to get off the bus to then see the other sites, the important sites of Rome. An alternative would be to take the metro, which I think is very efficient and actually less expensive. But with the hop-on, hop-off bus, you don't have to worry about pickpockets if you're worried about that. But probably the most or best way to get around Rome is simply on foot, in my opinion. So do what you want, but in my opinion, I did do the hop-on, hop-off bus. I had a good time. But at the same time, not something I'd probably do again. While you're in Rome, you're gonna wanna get some great pizza, and I wanna share with you my favorite pizzeria. It's located in Largo, Argentina, about a 5-minute walk from the Pantheon. It's called Pizza Florida. The pizza here is incredible. It's the Italio-style pizza, the kind they cut up. They serve it by weight. It's very inexpensive, but my goodness, it is the best pizza in Rome. I strongly recommend the carbonara flavor and the tuna. Yes, the tuna. I'm not even a huge tuna fan, but I love the tuna pizza here. In fact, they can make it into a sandwich for you. It's phenomenal. Give it a try. You won't regret it. So at the Pizza Florida right behind me, they make pizza obviously, but you go in there, you tell them to make it like a sandwich, like a panino, and this is incredible. I get the tuna. Now, I'm not even a big, huge tuna fan, to be honest with you, but the tuna sandwich here, the tuna pizza here, it's incredible. Like no other place I've ever eaten. So this is one of my favorite sandwiches in all of Rome. The tuna pizza turned into a sandwich, as you can see. They put it together like that.
It's phenomenal. Like, I mean, seriously, if you like tuna at all, even just a little bit, give it a try. You'll be blown away.
I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps us. Give it a thumbs up, share the video. If by chance you didn't like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs down. We sure appreciate everyone for watching our videos. To the next one, alla prossima, ciao. One more thing, I know you probably thought you got rid of me, but I want to tell you about a video I did a while ago about all the great views in Rome, great places to catch sunsets, sunrises. This video, for whatever reason, did not do well in the algorithm. I thought it was a pretty good video, and if that interests you, be sure to check it out because that video is coming up right now.